it could be devastating. Finding out you or a family member were victims of a scam. They're targeting you on your computer, on your phone, by text, by email. They are waiting. So today's webinar offers you some valuable awareness and advice from a panel of experts we gathered just for you. Hello, I'm Michael Hinman, coming to you from LI Herald headquarters here in beautiful Garden City. It's April, I can't believe that. And we partnered with AARP Long Island and our very own postal inspectors here to learn how to protect you and your family from common scams and fraud. I know there are a lot of webinars out there, but this is perhaps the most essential for you and here and now. In this three-part virtual series, we're going to learn how to fight fraud, what scams are out there, and even how to recognize the signs of a scam. All these great topics are leading up to a fantastic in-person event at the end of the month that involves a lot of shredding. I know it sounds like fun, and don't worry, I'll have more about that in a bit. But first, let's talk about identity theft. Joining me today is Bernard Macias, Associate State Director for AARP, Donna Harris, the Public Information Representative for the U.S. Postal Inspection Service Headquarters, and Michael Del Giudice. I'm going to say this right eventually, Mike. Sorry about that. Michael Del Giudice. You're going to have to say it for me, Michael. I think I can't do it.
Sure, Del Giudice.
This is why I work in newspaper and not, and I gave up my radio DJ career. So I'm sorry about that, Michael. So, but Michael is the Postal Inspector Team Leader for the U.S. Postal Service New York Division. So hello, Bernard. Hello, Donna. Hello, Michael. And Bernard, kick us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, baby Bernard. I think we might have a. It always happens right when you want to get moving, and that's when we lose Bernard. Well, we'll come back to Bernard really quick. Donna, share a little bit about yourself while we wait for Bernard to come back.
Sure. I'm Donna Harris. I'm the Public Information Representative, as Michael said, for our headquarters office. And what I do is I deal with media, anything related to the media or anything related to the Postal Inspection Service. You want to find out about our agency. You want our agency to speak at an event, you want us to do a quote if we're doing a quote for the Department of Justice on an arrest, I would handle those type of things. So that's what I do. And I'll turn that over to Michael Del Giudice, so he can tell you what he does as a team leader postal inspector.
Thanks, Donna. So I'm a postal inspector team leader, which basically is a supervisor. I have a group of postal inspectors who work under me, and we are the law enforcement branch of the Postal Service. We investigate any crimes in which the mail is used to facilitate these crimes. So we investigate mail fraud, mail theft, identity theft, drugs in the mail, and specifically my team handles identity theft and mail fraud cases. Talking to you a little about identity theft today, and I look forward to it.
Excellent. And Bernard, I see you rejoined us there. Sorry about that little technical hiccup.
No worries. We live in a virtual world. We have to be quick and nimble.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But let me quickly introduce myself and what we're up to. And again, greetings to everybody on behalf of AARP New York. Welcome to this fraud webinar, which is titled Fighting Against Fraud, right? Learn the 411 on recognizing a scam. And this is just one of a few of our webinars. I know Michael introduced me already, but I'll reintroduce myself. I am the Associate State Director for AARP on Long Island for Community Outreach and Engagement. And we have close to 500,000 members on Long Island between Nassau and Suffolk. And nationwide, AARP has 38 million members. So that means that we're about 2.5 million in New York State. Wow. And those 500,000 members are right here on Long Island, which is the highest concentration of membership. So a little bit more about AARP. We're the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering Americans 50 and older, how they choose, how they live as they age. And we strengthen communities. So we advocate what matters most to families with a special focus on health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. So if you remember anything about AARP, remember health, wealth, and self. and that's why we're teaming up, right? We're so happy to sponsor Herald's 3-part webinar series on fraud with this in-person shredding event, because fraud does impact your financial stability. And we're going to learn a lot about that today and with all the other webinars that we have in store. And that's also why we brought our good friends from the U.S. Postal Inspection Service together with AARP. We're going to focus on those scams that we believe that you should be particularly aware of. And, knowledge is power, right? So whatever you learn today to protect yourself, share those scams and fraud and information to your family and to your loved ones. We're going to cover identity theft today, but we have other shredding events. And I just want to make sure that that all of you are aware that next week on Thursday, we have our elder fraud abuse webinar. And, scammers don't care what age you are, what background you are, what income level you are. But older adults, it seems that older adults are more likely to be targeted. And there's a reason for that, right? Older adults have the most in money. They have financial savings. They own their own home. They have good credit. So unfortunately, you become very attractive to scammers. And then on Thursday, April 28th, we have our romance scam presentation. And again, adults of all ages are going online in hopes of finding love and companionship. But sadly, there's a downside to that. A lot of scammers out there in the cyberspace world are eager to take advantage of these folks. And in 2021, the Federal Trade Commission received 56,000 complaints about romance scams. And they predict that in terms of monetary loss, you're looking at over $500 million that collectively people have given to romance scams. So definitely tune in for that one. And then on April 30th, we have our free shredding event. We'll talk more about that later. So, Michael, take it away. And I'm really looking forward to today's program.
Yeah, it sounds, we have a lot of great stuff coming out there, Bernard. And Donna, I know you want to kick things off, but Donna, you might, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but according to CNBC, consumers lost $586 million to fraud, all linked to the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't know if you know that, but that's a lot. So, I'm very interested to hear your presentation today.
Well, yes, that's very true. There was, I know on Mike's team, he had several cases where it was PPP loan fraud, and then also price gouging, and right in Long Island, because the area, as you can see, Mike's at our Hicksville domicile. So right in Long Island, there were cases. And Mike, you want to just briefly speak about one of those?
Sure. We actually, I guess, in terms of the code fraud, it's rampant. We investigated several cases, certainly with the PPP loans, the payroll protection plan loans, where a lot of individuals are fraudulently filing claims for businesses to obtain money for businesses or companies that don't even exist. And unfortunately, they were, able to get money from the government to support their own individual needs, not workers or habits. And the downside is that it takes money away from people who actually need it for their businesses. So we had several cases that we investigated. We arrested several individuals. The cases are still ongoing, so I really can't talk too much about them, but we do have other cases as well that we're looking into. And certainly we also had one very interesting case in the very beginning of COVID, where someone was hoarding much needed PPE supplies, as Donna said, right here in Bethpage. And we took basically two 53-foot trailers full of much needed personal protective equipment, masks, gowns, hand sanitizer, away from this individual who was hoarding and selling it at exorbitant prices when it couldn't be found. So we've had some pretty great cases and work that we've done, and just trying to protect the consumer and the public.
So, okay, Michael, so thank you. And is it, I can get started now? It's showtime?
It's your turn there,
Fantastic.
Donna.
Sure. So I'm going to just start up my PowerPoint and get rolling here. Today we're going to be talking to you about, of course, identity theft. So I want to say first, thank you, Bernard, and an added thanks to the Herald inside Long Island and AARP for inviting us to join this very important webinar today. And also, joint ventures like these focus on consumer protection and fraud prevention are the keys, the cornerstone to ensuring the public is well informed and can recognize a scam when they see one. Postal inspectors have made this their mission dating back to 1872 when the mail fraud statute was enacted. In fact, the Postal Inspection Service has been safeguarding consumers, anything that has a nexus to the US mail since 1775. Now let's move on to the crime of identity theft. You hear it all the time. Oh, you have to protect your identity. Don't get scammed. But what is identity theft? So identity theft is the theft of your personally identifiable information, the compromise of what I like to call your financial DNA, because it's all about you, your identity. And this includes your name, your date of birth, your social security number, your account number, passwords, etc. Anything that can be used to assume your identity without your authorization. The other part of identity theft is identity fraud. And that's the use of that information that's stolen to commit a crime. So if someone opens a credit card in your name, someone files your taxes in your name, anything that you don't authorize is considered identity fraud. Now, there are many types of identity theft, but the first thing we want to talk about is who has your information. And it's a lot of people. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mike Del Giudice now, and he can go ahead and talk to you about your information, who has it, and some best practices.
Thanks, Donna. The presentation is not showing on the screen.
Okay. Let me just get out of this and go back to my slides. I'm going to reshare it, and hopefully you all can see it. Oh, can you all see? Hopefully you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to put this in a larger mode so that everyone can see it. How about that? Is it good? All right.
Perfect.
So let me just flip through these slides to get back to where I was. I was so busy talking that here you go. Who has your information? You can go on from here.
Perfect. Thank you. So as Donna was saying, let's just think about it. Your personal information, your social security number, your date of birth, your home address, your phone number. This is information that we routinely give out, could be a daily basis. If you go to a doctor's office, or, if you're opening up a bank account, or when you go to the DMV, or you need utilities, or you're filing your taxes, your information is out there. And in addition to that, not only do you give it when you're asked to give it when you go to a doctor's office, or you're filling out an application for something, but also we live in a digital world right now. Everyone has an email address, maybe multiple email addresses. They have a computer at home, they have an iPhone, or a Samsung phone, or some sort of digital device that they're linked to the internet, and they're passing information. So, unfortunately, all of online banking, your information's out there. So, I mean, if you just take a minute and think about it, there's all these agencies, or employers, or dentists, or doctor's office, they all require, for one reason or another, your personal identification. So it's definitely out there. Next slide, please, Donna. So, let's take a minute and think about it. Like, how does ID theft happen? So, a lot of times, I know, especially myself, I think today I've probably gotten about 5 scam phone calls between my personal phone and my work phone. There's always someone that's trying to call to offer me some sort of great deal on car insurance, or wants to sell me solar heating, or whatever else they can think up of. And of course, if you engage them or you answer your phone, then they'll start talking to you and trying to get you to purchase or buy anything. The key thing is, like, if an offer is too good to be true, it probably is. It's most likely a scam, right? You're not going to get something for free. Nobody's going to give you the best deal in the world. You know, if it is, they're probably just trying to make you feel comfortable or make you feel that you're going to win, you know, a prize, or you've won that, you know, that great trip to the Bahamas or to Hawaii that you've always been looking to get. But unfortunately, you know, that doesn't exist. It's just a scam. They're trying to get your information. And if you start talking to them, they will, you know, then start asking you for personal information. They'll ask you for, oh, what's your home address? What's your date of birth? What's your social security number? And again, like, if it sounds too good to be true, it most likely isn't. It's a scam. And, you know, one thing I'll say now, and I'll say, you know, throughout the rest of the presentation is, you know, no one's ever going to call you from a bank or from the IRS or from any government agency and going to ask you for your date of birth, your social security number, your credit card number. Like, the only people that ask for that information are people that are trying to get your personal information so they can use it to steal your identity, to open up bank accounts of their own, or to potentially gain access to your accounts. So again, like, unfortunately, I'm sure in the news, we've seen a lot of data breaches, right? All of these companies that take your data, even the simple ones like, you know, Target or Walmart or Google, or, you know, any of these large companies that we probably use on a daily basis to make online purchases or to post information about our personal lives. You know, unfortunately, there's data breaches in which, you know, someone can illegally gain access to their database of your personal information, and individuals are able to use that information, again, to open up accounts in your name or to take over your account. Next slide, please, Don.
Before I move on to the next slide, I just also want to talk about when you go to an event and you sign up, you know, to receive more information, or you sign up to receive, you know, a free meal, those type of things. Your information, as Mike mentioned just now, is that your information is gathered, and that goes on a list. And a lot of times you may have heard about a lead list, and those lists are used and bought. Like, you can go to a list broker and buy a list with names of, say, people in Long Island who, you know, who like coffee, just as an example. And that's how some of these scammers, with stealing information and purchasing information, have an opportunity to get your information and use it in ways that you wouldn't authorize.
So as we said before, there's a lot of different types of identity theft, right? Or your identity being stolen can be used for many different types of things, right? Financial, certainly someone opens a credit card or a bank account in your name and they're trying to get, you know, cash, or they're trying to buy goods, you know, on your credit or using your money. Insurance, sometimes it happens, like someone will use your identity to get medical insurance if they don't have it, so they can file false medical claims. Even impersonating you. It's very possible if your identity is stolen, maybe someone has a counterfeit, you know, driver's license that they may use, and if they're arrested, they'll use it to, you know, give your identity, you know, to the police during either being stopped or their arrest. Next slide, please. Child identity theft is very big too. I mean, let's think about it, right? Like, if your child is issued a social security number, and that information could be out there, and they'll never really know, or you never really know, because until they get to a certain age, they don't have any credit. They don't have any, you know, credit cards or bank accounts, or, you know, until they get to a certain point. And by that time, it may be too late. Their identity may have been used for, you know, illegal activity, or to, you know, purchase goods and then not pay for them, and then basically their credit could potentially be ruined. Another up and coming, or it's been around for a while now, is a synthetic identity, where individuals will use a mixture of social security number and other information to basically form a new person. So they'll combine a couple different types of identities, and then to make, like I said, to come up with an individual doesn't even exist. And obviously, the most common type is credit fraud, where someone, again, is using your social security number, your date of birth to open up a bank account, to get credit cards, or even potentially to get a credit card that already exists on your account, but just get another one reissued. So these are several different types of identity theft. Again, bank fraud, loan fraud, tax fraud, just filing false. Tax fraud is the biggest one, especially now since it's tax time. A lot of times people will try I won't say people, but individuals will try to file a tax return in your name so they can get your refund instead of you getting it. And then when you go to file your taxes, you're not able to get it, and then you just have to go through, I guess, combating that problem as well. Loan fraud, bank fraud, again, bank accounts or loans in your name. And insurance fraud as well, just to file false insurance claims and then get the settlement from it to get free cash using your identity. So, as I said before, we live in a digital age, and, everybody's probably heard of, or at least made some mention of, the dark web or cybercrime. Again, the dark web is essentially not, when you go online to Google or something like that, that's considered the open web. The dark web is a little bit more difficult to get to. You have to know how to get to it, but there are all of these illegal websites or that individuals can go to, and they generally are trying to sell illegal goods on them. So maybe they'll sell drugs on it, or they'll sell information, your personal information. A lot of times, if there was a data breach with one of, a large corporation and your information was taken, a lot of times that information will be posted on these dark websites that are available for sale. I think the going rate for someone's identity, like yours or mine, was basically 25 cents. That's what your identity is worth for someone to purchase. And depending on the breach, they could get a lot of information. They have your name, your date of birth, your home address, your phone number. So all this information that could be used to commit crimes or to get benefits or money, credit cards, bank accounts in your name. Next slide, please.
I just want to touch on the calling services. And this was something that I thought was very interesting, in that the calling service, individuals are hired through the dark web to target victims' bank accounts. And what they'll do in their credit card accounts, they'll call these accounts pretending, using this ID, the stolen ID, pretending to be the person that actually opened the account, and arrange to have the person's email and phone number changed. And that way, and their address changed on their bills. That way they get your information, and you wouldn't even know that your identity's been compromised until something comes through or something's not paid, and you wind up getting a notice or a call at some point in time that your bills haven't been paid. And it's like, what bill is this? So I found this to be very interesting, because while we all know about the dark web, and while our agency has a robust cyber group that actually investigates these crimes, this calling service was interesting, that someone could, with that identity, actually take it and use it as if they were you. So I thought it was really interesting with the calling service and the work, we call work from home job that they offer individuals. Go ahead, Mike.
Thanks, Donna. So yeah, as Donna said, I mean, there's just so many different scams that individuals will take to try and just get free money. And as the slide says, like, identity theft is on the rise. It's probably one of the fastest growing crimes in America. Just some statistics from 2021, the Federal Trade Commission received over 1,434,000 complaints about identity theft, which was about a 64% increase from the year before. But you know what? The loss is probably even larger, and the number of victims are probably larger as well, because a lot of people don't report being the victim of identity theft. So there are certainly a lot of programs that are out there to help combat identity theft, and we'll get into those as well. Just one of the big things, as I was talking about before, phishing scams. So there's so many different names these days for the scams that are going on. There's phishing, which basically is when someone sends a fraudulent email to you trying to get information from you, your personal information. So maybe it looks like it's an email from a bank or your credit card company, and they're telling you that there's a problem and to click this link to rectify the situation. There's a problem with your password, or maybe your account is overdrawn. So that's a type of phishing scam. Then they've certainly with different, nowadays that everyone has a cell phone and gets text messages and obviously telephone calls, you'll get something that they call vishing, which is where an individual, very similar, like what Donna was saying about calling the banks or the credit card companies, but they'll call you and they'll say they're from the bank, and they're trying again to get information from you to reveal your personal information, your social security number, your date of birth, just because they're trying to get that information so they can use it to steal your identity, to either get money from your bank accounts or to open up a credit card in your name, or to just purchase goods online so that they're able to, obviously benefit from your identity. There's also smishing, which is getting fraudulent text message instead. So again, very similar. One of the big ones that's been going out that we've seen a lot that kind of comes and goes is you may get a text message from the Postal Service saying that you have a shipment that has a problem with its tracking. These are all fake text messages trying to, once again, get your information, trying to either get you to pay some money via credit card. So if you do that, then they'll have your credit card, so they could use that credit card number to go make purchases, wherever, either at stores, at gas stations, or they could sell that credit card number to somebody else who will then use it to make purchases. So, I know a lot of this sounds scary, but, we'll kind of get into techniques that you can use to protect your identity. So once again, there's a lot out there, but you just be smart about it. Always ways to look at identity theft. Match your receipts against your statements. Like, always check your bank statements, your credit card statements. I know a lot of times now it's so easy, we just put it on auto pay or we get digital bills and we don't really look at it. But it's very important that when you get that statement, even if it's in a digital form, you want to check it. Look at the money that's going into your bank account, the money that's coming out of your bank account. If you've written a check, make sure that check matches with the amount that you've written. Same thing with credit cards. I mean, it happens to everyone. It happened to me. I've had my credit cards be stolen and somebody make charges in California or Florida or Indiana. And the important thing though is that you check your statements or your credit cards. I mean, one of the great things nowadays is that with the credit card companies or the banks, they offer you multi-layers of protection. So when there's a transaction of a certain threshold, you can get an alert either via email or text message that, hey, you had a charge over X number of dollars, so they're alerting you to it. Also, if there's been a withdrawal from your bank account or a deposit made, turning on these alerts in your bank accounts and your credit cards are a great tool to help you figure out or track if there's been unauthorized activity on your accounts. I mean, I have those turned on for myself, and it's certainly helped me to catch, scams or someone trying to use my credit cards or my bank accounts, right away, and I've been able to prevent anything from happening and get those charges reversed and a fraud alert put on them. But, most importantly with any of this, it's very important, we don't really think about it, but check your credit report. You want to check it. There's 3 different credit reporting agencies, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. There's also annualcreditreport.com, where you're allowed to get, you can sign up and get a free yearly credit report. Donna also has the number listed on the slide. The great thing is, with the 3 different credit reporting agencies, you're allowed to get a credit report from each one of those credit reporting agencies per year. So technically, you could get a credit report every 4 months and check your credit history. The great thing and the important thing about checking your credit is that will also help you to determine if someone has used your identity to open up a bank account, take out a loan, open some line of credit, open up a bank account. So checking your credit is very important, and it's a good thing to do as a preventative measure. And again, as we said there, you can do it annualcreditreport.com, once per year, or you can also go to the 3 credit reporting agencies. Next slide, please, Donna. Thank you. So, and also, don't also look at, your loved one's behavior too, especially if you have, senior relatives or elderly parents or grandparents. You always want to, help them out too, and keep an eye on their credit and what's going in and out of their bank accounts, and just make them aware, because unfortunately a lot of these scammers will target the elderly and seniors because a lot of them, are lonely, they're very trusting, they don't, check the bank accounts, they're not really tuned into the digital age with looking at these things, and if they don't pay attention to their bank accounts or to their credit reports, it's very possible that they are a victim of not only, someone stealing their identity, but also someone just trying to get them to send them money. Maybe, hey, you've won a lottery or a sweepstakes, and send us money. You need to, pay the taxes to get your winnings. So, look at that. See if they're getting any increased phone calls or any increased mail. If their bank accounts are dwindling, where's all that money going? We'll get into the next series, but just quickly, a lot of the elderly people, when they get scammed to send money for a lottery or sweepstakes, they'll go to the bank and they'll withdraw, thousands of dollars out of their bank account to send money to scammers. So if you see those funds dwindling, always, just keep an eye on those bank statements. Very important. Just look at them every month, set up alerts, definitely tools to help prevent any large catastrophes from happening with, bank accounts or credit card accounts. Some of the steps that you can take, like if you are a victim of identity theft, the credit reports, you can put a fraud alert on your credit report. It's very simple. As I said, no one's immune. I'm a criminal investigator, and someone stole my identity. Someone tried to open up a bank account in my name, not too long ago, I think back in October of last year. So one of the important things, what I did right away was I went to all the credit bureaus. I put a fraud alert on my credit report. It's very easy to do. You just go in there, you fill out some information, and they will put a fraud alert on. So if any new accounts are tried to be opened up in your name or using your social security number, they will alert you, or a bank will, certainly it'll be a red flag before any bank or credit card company will open it. One of the other things that you can do too, which I did, was put a credit freeze on. Sometimes it's very simple to do. You just, again, go to the websites of the 3 credit agencies or the credit bureaus, and you can put a freeze on, and you can take it off, or you can temporarily lift it. But it's very easy to do, and then that way it prevents anyone from opening credit in your name. And as it says, you can do an initial one, which is good for a year, or you can do an extended one, which I think is 7 years. That if you were a victim of identity theft, they'll keep that alert on your credit for a period of 5 to 7 years. Again, order copies of your credit reports. You get 3 free ones. If need be, close accounts. Credit card companies are great when it comes to that. If your credit card was compromised, they'll close that account out and open up a new one and send it to you right away. Again, if you are a victim of identity theft, file a report with your local police and the inspection service, the postal inspection service. Most credit cards need to be sent through the mail to be reissued to you. You can also file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. They have a website, which we'll put up later in the presentation, that you can file a complaint with them as well. Again, organize all of your information and stay alert, monitor your, credit reports and your bills. Always take a look at those and set up those alerts, for your accounts to get email messages or text messages. One of the things that's always very helpful if you were the victim of identity theft is, anything that you can help with the investigation, any solicitations, any canceled checks, credit card, bank statements that you may have are always helpful to help us as investigators to identify, where the source of compromise may have come from or who the person is that is, has stolen your identity or your information. Any dates or times or any phone conversations that you had, any mailings that you may have received, or if you sent money or postal money orders to someone or made wire transactions, holding on to those receipts are always beneficial to help us identify individual and to help us in our investigation. The best way to protect your information is never give it out. When you get these unsolicited phone calls from banks, from credit card agencies, from anyone that's asking for your date of birth, your social security number, your home address, or asking for too much personal information, just don't give it to them. If you think it may be legitimate, then what you can always do, especially if it's your credit card company or your bank that's calling you, just hang up with them, and then on your credit card statements, or you can go on the internet and you can find their contact information, their web address. You call them, so then you know who you're talking to, right? So, never give it out. Never give your personal information out unless absolutely necessary. If you're, again, at a doctor's office, I know they require it a lot. Maybe you could just give them the last 4 digits of your social security number. Maybe not. I know it's a lot to do with insurance and billing, but just don't freely give your information out. Again, government agencies, the IRS, any law enforcement agency, nobody will ask you for your social security number or your date of birth over the phone. One of the biggest things too is, as I was saying before, protect your social security number. Also, shredding is a big thing. Any bank documents, any credit card bills, anything that has personally identifiable information, any stock account information, any brokerage accounts, anything that you may have that would, give a subject, your personal information, even give them an idea of where your banking is, right? Because you may be a TD Bank customer or a Chase Bank customer. If you don't shred those documents and you just throw them in the trash, then you're basically giving them, the keys to the kingdom. It has your bank account statement, has your account number on it, it has the amount of money you have on it, it has a lot of personal information. So, shred documents. I pretty much shred everything. Any of my mail that I get, you definitely want to, not let it out there, not just throw it away in the garbage. Secure your financial data too. Make sure that you, don't give out any information on websites. That's the latest thing. A lot of, especially during COVID times, a lot of online buying happened. A lot of stores were closed, so people may have placed a lot of orders. One of the things that you want to do is make sure that a website is a secure website or Donna has a picture of a lock here. You will see that in the address bar of the website, a little lock, which means that it's secure. And also the words HTTPS in the web address. That means it's a secure address. Also, one of the great things about credit card companies now, if you have certain of them actually offer virtual credit cards that you could use. So Capital One, for instance, I know that if you're placing an order online, you can actually get a virtual credit card number so that when you're placing that order, you're not using your real credit card number, but it's linked to your credit card. So if unfortunately that website is a fake website that you went to, or what we call a spoofed website, you won't have to change your entire credit card and get a new one, or they won't have to shut it down. Basically, that virtual number will just expire, and the credit card company can invalidate that transaction, but without having to go through the process of getting a new credit card. Always be careful of, these websites when you're going to. So, some of the things that they're in addition to checking your credit report, there are credit monitoring services. This is completely up to you if you want to do this or not. There are certain companies out there, you've probably seen LifeLock out there a lot. There's the credit reporting agencies and credit card monitoring services that, will keep an eye on your credit file and will send you alerts anytime there's been a change to your credit file. Are they worth it? It's really a matter of personal choice. I do have the credit monitoring service through one of my credit card companies. For me personally, it's just, I find it very beneficial because I get alerts, right away. I mean, that's what helped me to detect that someone was trying to open up a bank account in my name, because I got an alert from my credit monitoring service that there was a new entry on my credit file, or there was either an inquiry or there was credit line that was open. So it's great as a preventative measure. The credit reporting agencies do offer this as well. You can, if you're interested in something like that, you can look around. There are, any of the banks will do it, credit card companies do it, and again, the credit reporting agency. So it's just a matter of personal preference. In terms of identity theft as well, the mail. If you're going to be traveling, you want to go to your local post office and you want to let them know to, put a hold on your mail so that your mailbox isn't filling up with mail. And, unfortunately, we've had instances where people will go around to your home if there's mail in the mailbox, and they'll steal it out of your mailbox. So certainly, you want to bring your mail in. You don't want to leave it out there, especially for the a time that you may be away or not able to get your mail. And in times if you're not receiving mail, and you normally receive a lot of mail, then you certainly want to go to your post office and find out what's going on, and also contact the inspection service, because it's not necessarily a good thing if you're not getting mail and that you normally do, because it's possible that someone may have tried to change your address or have your mail redirected to them. Alert the Postal Inspection Service, alert your post office. One of the big things too in the digital world, you want to use strong passwords. Don't make them easy. Don't make them a child's name, a dog's name, your favorite restaurant. You want to make them very complicated so that someone can't just guess them. It's very easy nowadays, to, especially with the breaches or the popular sites that people go to like Facebook or Instagram or any of these social media sites. You want to lock down your accounts. You don't want to put a lot of personal information, because individuals will try and use that to get your information and then use it to steal your identity, to open up bank accounts, and to get credit cards in your name. So also, I know it's very easy because nobody likes using passwords or creating different ones, to use the same password for every account. Don't do that. If you have multiple email accounts, different bank accounts, use different passwords, because unfortunately, if one password is compromised, then that means every password that you have is compromised, and someone could get into any of your accounts. So make sure you change those periodically. Again, if you see identity theft, you want to shut down the credit card or the bank account, contact your banks. They have fraud investigators. Credit card companies have fraud investigators. They're very good. They will work with you to shut down your bank accounts or your credit card accounts and get you new ones issued. And also, to help stop the theft of funds or fraudulent charges. Next slide. So again, this is identitytheft.gov. This is the FTC's website that you could go to fill out the information. They give you a lot of great information about what to do if you were a victim of identity theft. So certainly, even just for tips and tricks on how to prevent your identity theft or your identity being stolen, go to their website. It has a lot of great information. Next slide. And again, if you have fraud or identity theft or mail theft, please report it to us, to the Postal Inspection Service. This is our number. at the top, also our website, and also the FTC. This is their information. And of course, your local police department if you have been the victim of identity theft or fraud.
Thank you, Bernard.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. Great information. Donna, thank you so much. AARP has a dedicated site for fraud, to combat fraud. That would be the Fraud Watch Network. And you can visit us at aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network. It's a nationwide effort that we have. We have actually volunteers that help, that are trained when you make that phone call to our Fraud Watch Network. They help by creating a scam tracking map so that you can learn more about where exactly those fraud and scams are happening in your area. You can also sign up to our Fraud Watch watchdog alerts by texting FWN to 50757. Next slide. And there's that phone number for Fraud Watch Network so that you can call if you feel like you've been a target to a scam. You can call us at our helpline at 877-908-3360. You can always, like Michael said, you can always contact the New York State Attorney General's office, 800-771-7755, or visit their website directly at ag.ny.gov. And of course, here's the U.S. Postal Inspection website, uspis.gov. Great ways to stay safe out there.
So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I believe we have some questions. We have time for a few questions.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, that was a fantastic presentation. It's so much information in there. And a lot of these questions came in before everybody had a chance to see that. So I think that so some of these may have already been answered. So, one person did ask, by the way, that they mentioned that they had been hacked. They said that their emails were redirected to the hacker's emails. So every time they try to go in there and reset their password, the hacker is seeing those resets. Is there anything they can do about that, or are they kind of stuck at that point?
Yeah, so that's it depends on the email company. So if you're using Google or Yahoo, go to their website and they will walk you step by step of what they can do to help you get your account back. So one of the best things to do is when you are creating these email accounts, make sure you write down all the information that you use when you open the account, because they will refer back to that and try and ask you questions related to that so that they can verify that you are actually the owner of the account. They're the only ones that would be able to help you in that instance. One of the things, though, certainly, if it's your email account that's linked to your bank accounts or your credit card companies, go to your credit card companies and change that email right away in your bank accounts. You want to protect yourself, because especially if that's used to authenticate you with those companies, you want to make sure that someone can't gain access to your credit cards or your bank accounts. So go in right away and change that. Then work with the email provider, whoever you have, to get your account back. They should be able to help you out based on when you've logged in, because of course they track when you log in, when you log out, your history, some other information that you may have entered. So all that's very helpful when you contact them to get your information or to get your email account back. Another thing, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say alert your friends and contacts, because they may start receiving emails thinking it's from you, and that individual may try and steal their information. So make sure you alert people as well. But protect yourself. I know, and unfortunately, if you can't get that email back, you would create another one. But usually the service providers can work with you to get it back.
And this is something where multi-factor authentication, or I can't even say that word now today. Authentication works out very well too, because that's where
Sure.
you would get, they would send you a code to your cell phone or something to help identify that it's you.
Right, it's called two-factor authentication. A lot of email service providers, banks as well, credit card companies, they offer it. You can either set up your cell phone to receive a text message or your regular phone to get a phone call with a code that they will prompt you for to enter in before you're able to log in. So it helps with that password that may have been compromised. There's also a what they call a digital authenticator, which you link up to those accounts, and every time you try and log into either a bank account or a credit card account or anything for that matter, even your email account, you'll also through that authenticator get a code that you have to enter in. So if you look in the setup options of your email account or your bank account or your credit card account, it will have an option for, it may say 2FA or two-factor authentication, and that's an extra security enhancement you can put on to help prevent those accounts from being taken over.
What about like giving out your social security number? I mean, it seems that it's always like confusing to me, like when is it appropriate to give my social security number for somebody, and should my pizza shop always ask me for my social security number whenever I order
Right,
something?
yeah, for the most part, like it's not. You know, like I said, no one over the phone or via email is going to ask you for your social security number. Now, obviously, like if you call into your bank or you call into your credit card company, like they may ask you for the last 4 digits of your social security number so that they can pull up your account. They can also verify that's you. They will ask you to some challenge response questions as well to try and identify you. Yeah, pizza guy, no. Someone over the phone calling, no. I mean, look, doctors' offices, like I said, you know, schools, banks, when you're opening accounts, like those are probably instances where it would be necessary. But even sometimes with like doctors' offices, I always, you know, I try to only give the last 4 digits of my social security number if I can. But, you know, sometimes they require the full number just for insurance billing purposes. But, yeah, you shouldn't just give it out freely. Like, you know, someone walking past you and you know, down the street or a coworker shouldn't be asking for that information.
You know, and one other thing, you know, that has been happening a little bit too, and I think you did address this a little bit. You know, we talk about phishing, you know, PHIS, but there's also been something like actual mailbox phishing, where people are dropping checks into mailboxes and they're getting fished out, like literally fished out. And then, I mean, how do people? Because I know some people are scared now to sometimes drop checks into these public mailboxes. Is there a way of ensuring safety with that?
Yeah, so there's a couple things you can do. I mean, the Postal Service actually, you know, over the course of the past several years has spent millions of dollars replacing the old collection boxes with higher security collection boxes to try and prevent, you know, the phishing and make it much more difficult to get mail out of these mailboxes or the collection boxes. But, you know, the best advice is, like, you know, if you are going to mail in a blue collection box, don't mail after the last collection, right? Like, so don't drop it in the mailbox at, you know, 10 o'clock at night if the last collection was 5 o'clock. You know, when you can go into the post office and mail your letters, you know, because it'll be taken right away there. And, you know, again, just be smart about when you're dropping that mail off. You know, you certainly want to do it during the day when there's collection, so there's no mail sitting in the mailboxes. Donna, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, that's pretty much it. Yes, certainly put your mail in the collection box before the last pickup of the day. I make it a practice to give myself 30 extra minutes when I drop the mail in the blue box. As you can see, we do have new blue boxes, as Michael mentioned, that the Postal Service, they're called the high security collection box, and those were all installed in throughout New York. The area, our coverage area at least, which is from Preston Hollow down to Lower Manhattan. But, you know, on a safe spot to take it into the post office, you can give it to your carrier, but certainly if you take it into the post office, it's inside and no one has an opportunity to try to fish out of the box. As always, we're investigating these crimes, you know, but unfortunately, sometimes we investigate, we arrest them, and they get back out on the street and they continue to commit these crimes. But every time we find them, we arrest them again to try to get them off the street, and in hopes of moving this through the federal system to ensure that we can get these individuals off the street for a longer period of time.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, excellent, Donna. And thank you so much for that. We have so many questions but we're running out of time, unfortunately. And so I mean, we have 2 more of these coming up, which is going to be great. But I wanted to thank everyone for joining us, and a special thanks to AARP Long Island. And Bernard, I know you gave out the hotline number. Can you want to give it out one more time for everybody? Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
Myself, sorry. Yes, I sure will. Let me give that number out again. So for the Fraud Watch Network helpline, it's 877-908-3360. You can always visit us at aarp.org/Fraud Watch Network, but you can continue to connect with AARP Long Island by going to aarp.org/near-you, and you can learn more about more webinars, more at-home activities. We have classes, we have wellness topics, talking with our health experts. We have lots of upcoming events and many volunteer opportunities in your area. So visit us at aarp.org/near-you. You can also follow us on Facebook, and you can visit us there, facebook.com/AARP Long Island. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, and also a big thank you to our panelists, Bernard, Donna Harris, Michael Del Giudice. I think did I get it close this time? Was I closer?
Good. Very good.
I was practicing in my head. So, but next week, April 14th, we're going to be right back here on your computer screen to talk about elder care scams and how to look out for your loved ones. Then after a quick holiday break, we return April 28th to learn about romance scams. Is that right, Bernard? Romance scams. That should be very interesting and heartbreaking at the same time, I'm sure.
Yes.
But then finally, it's the experience we've all been waiting for. It's a free shredding event on Saturday, April 30th. It's going to run from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. And by the way, you're going to come visit us here. You're going to come to Herald Inside LI headquarters. All you have to do is drive up. You don't have to get out of your car. You don't have to interact, have contact. Bring up to 3 bags of documents that you don't want to have in your trash and anybody fishing those out. Bring them to shred. It's a free shredding event with AARP. It's going to be fantastic. It'll be fun just to watch it happen. I'm sure it's never dull to watch shredding and to see that.
Make sure you register, everyone. Make sure you register in advance. Yeah.
Yes, please register in advance. Absolutely, that's very good to do. But we'll put that information up on the screen. So if you want to learn more about all of that, by the way, visit us at liherald.com/shred. That's liherald.com/shred. In the meantime, on behalf of all of us here at Herald Inside LI with AARP and the United States Postal Inspection Service, I'm Michael Hinman, and thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.